The fight to protect badgers from criminals is being stepped up in North Yorkshire. The police say badger baiting and other crimes are rife, and they're determined to bring those responsible to justice. A team of wildlife officers is working with the RSPCA to prosecute people who break the law. You might find some scenes in Ian White's report upsetting.
You'd be extremely lucky to come across a scene like this. A group of badgers looking for food in the countryside. For most of us, they're creatures to be loved. But for years, they've also been the victims of dangerous criminal gangs. And if you thought badger baiting was a thing of the past, think again. In places like North Yorkshire, it's a crime that's rife.
From the years 2016 to 2018, there was over 1,350 incidents reported to the police, and that's from persecution to badger digging. It's such a big demand on policing, I don't think the public know how big it is.
Determined to stamp out this so-called criminal sport, North Yorkshire Police is now leading the country on tackling crimes against badgers, sharing intelligence and good practice with other forces.
It's brutal, it's barbaric for the badgers and for the dogs. It's often very well planned, there's money that gets exchanged with it. And an example is you can't just go with your dog and go and commit this type of crime. You've really got to know what you're doing because there's a lot of risk involved and there's a lot of planning. You need to have the right equipment and it appeals to people who in society are the worst type of people.
A team of 41 wildlife police officers in North Yorkshire work alongside the RSPCA to prosecute people involved in hurting and disturbing badgers.
If you get caught, you can go to prison, you can lose your dog, you can be disqualified from keeping dogs. It's a very serious crime and the public expect these cases to be investigated, and they will be investigated. We have to stop it. We have to say we're taking a proactive and a reactive approach to try and combat this crime, which is so horrific to badgers and indeed to the dogs.
It's great to see this chap is doing really well.
At Whitby Wildlife Sanctuary, they're used to looking after poorly badgers, so the thought of people deliberately hurting them is upsetting.
I can't comprehend at all why somebody would take pleasure from killing a badger or any wild animal for that matter.
In a county where cross-border crime is a real problem, North Yorkshire Police is also sharing information with its neighbouring forces, determined to protect the much-loved badger from this extreme cruelty a few think of as a sport. Ian White, BBC Look North, Ryedale.
OK, let's move on, shall we?